In this section, I want to take a look at a few examples of adding lights that are materials. The first thing I want to look at is our 2010 Camaro assembly. There are several things on this car that are lit up. The tail lights, the marker lights, the headlights, these are all things that require lights. Things like the headlights would be more suited towards having a spotlight. So we could place a spotlight behind the headlight shining through glass and have that shining forward. This could be a real handy thing. What we want to look at is adding lights as materials. So currently we have an orange reflector here. If I select both of these faces, go to my material options, and apply material to a face, you'll see that there's already a polycarbonate plastic material. What I want to do is change this to be a light. So from our material options, we have lights as a certain option. I'm going to go ahead and select area light. Instead of leaving this as white, I'm going to go to my color image section and change it to orange. You also have other options. If you already have a material set, such as this orange polycarbonate plastic, we could simply go to the illumination tab, go down to the luminous intensity, and modify its parameters. For instance, change it to zero point 0.1. So as we go back to the side, if we do a preview window, we still have the same polycarbonate plastic material there, but now it has a little bit of light intensity. Now you see in this preview window, we get a small bit of orange there. We can do the same thing to the back marker. Again, we'll go and we'll modify its appearance, go to illumination, change its luminous intensity, maybe make this one slightly brighter, zero point 0.2. Then we could go to something like the tail lights. Grab all four tail lights, modify their parameters, go to illumination, and change these to something a bit brighter. Let's say 1. The nice thing about modifying a material that's already there, for instance, the tail lights, the side marker lights, these were already things that I had materials for. At any point in time when you want to change scenes, you could go back, you could have a different display state and have them lit up in one, for instance, a dark scene like this, or turned off or no luminous intensity in a brighter scene. Or obviously, you could have the lights on in a brighter scene. But this way, we have, again, a dark scene, we have a spotlight, we have fog, and now it appears as if the tail lights are on, the marker lights are on. We could put headlights on as a spotlight with fog and direction and so on. So this would give us a little bit more realism for a scene like this. Let's take a look at another example. Our JBL speaker, it has an LED. So if we zoom in on this, we want to change the material of either the solid part or the two faces. So in this case, we're going to go down to our lights folder and we're going to select LED. There's already a green LED, so we simply can say OK, go back to our camera view, and take a look at a preview window of this. The great thing about using these predefined materials such as the LED is that their material properties, their intensity of light, and so on, those are preset and predetermined for you. So you don't have to do a lot of extra work and planning for those. So now it looks as if we have a green LED that's on. Let's take a look at one more example, and that's the basic scene that we created. Now inside this basic scene, we have a ceiling. We have ceiling lights. Within those ceiling lights, we could turn things on. Let's go ahead and take a look at this sketch. And we'll hide that sketch that created the lights. And we'll take a look at the ceiling. I want to apply a material to just this face. We can go down to our lights folder, go down to area light, and we can select the area light for this material. And what this will do in our scene is add additional light coming from the ceiling to illuminate our room. Now, this is great when you're creating these basic scenes, these basic rooms, and you want to add a bit of realism. Instead of doing the entire ceiling, we could do small areas such as these circles that are split faces and have them be realistic spotlights. Now, we could also add direction lights or spotlights to the ceiling, but we can use these materials in the same way. Now, the difference between a material light and something like a spotlight or a direction light is the material light isn't focused. The surface itself is going to be given off the light based on the intensity that you set. So if you need a focus light, you will be looking at a spotlight or maybe a direction light, depending on where your object or your components are placed. In a big scene like this, the direction light doesn't necessarily work. So then you're going to be focusing on something like a material light. The material light will allow you to select things like the ceiling or maybe a tube that would be representative of a fluorescent light and have those give off light in all directions.